welcome to Now Showing. I'm Atika Farooqui. Do you know actor Amjad Khan was almost dropped from the film Sholay because scriptwriter Javed Akhtar found his voice too weak for Gabbar Singh's role. Danny Dinzongpa was approached for that role initially, which finally went to Amjad Khan. Saram bewafa yaad hai aapko? Fateh Khan, Danny says to Pran Sahab. I guess that's the reason. Do you also know that Tom Cruise was considered for the role of Raj Malhotra in Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge? You hota to kya hota? We all know about that play, Comedy of Errors. But imagine a play by the name of Strategy of Errors and how it can completely change history. है ना? अजीब बातें तो होती रहेंगी. Let's first start the show with the headlines because we have a power-packed and an action-packed and a content-packed show. Liger is a brilliant opportunity wasted with a sincere leading man Vijay but disappointing script and dialogues. A heartwarming chat with the team of Delhi Crime Season 2 after the first one. Many accolades, this time the stakes are high. Dhadak film director Shashank Khaitan talks about the film that changed his life and his filmmaking. And meet Aditya A, the voice behind the song Chaand Baaliyan that is taking the internet by storm. Let's talk about this week's release, Liger. Liger is a hypothetical term given to a young boy whose father was Lion Balram, a mixed martial arts fighter who died before getting or winning a national championship, and his mother was a tigress called Balamani, played by Ramya Krishnan, who after so many years still roars like the mother of Bahubali. And Liger is a really good-looking, well-built young man with innocent looks who stutters. But as his coach, played by Ronit Roy, says, don't mind the delay in your words as long as your punches land in time. So, he takes his time to catch his words, but he's quite a dynamite in that ring. Set in south of Mumbai, Liger is a mix of a love story between two people from jarringly different social classes and backgrounds and a slumdog story of a son of a poor widowed mother who rises from slums to being India's first MMA fighter in the international arena. Unfortunately, with every box ticked in favor of the film, this one lacks an emotional connect, a reasonable storyline or arch, characters' behaviors that cannot be explained at various points in the film, and dialogues that are so funny, juvenile and sometimes offensive to an average person of this time that you doubt that this is a mainstream film with so much money pumped in. While the film shows promise in the scenes where Liger is giving a tough and a smart fight with the right training and the perfect moves that clearly reflect his many months of training that Vijay Deverakonda took in Bangkok, the film takes absurd turns very frequently with a romantic affair between Ananya, Panday and Vijay that sounded more like a sibling love and rivalry with hardly any chemistry in the romance. The humor and the talk points given to the track are reminiscent of 90s Hindi films, where the writers got away with so many misogynistic dialogues and dance moves and lyrics that were just in bad taste. Casting Ramya Krishnan as Vijay's mother was a great decision, but her Bahubali demeanor as a widowed woman in South Mumbai chawls sounds quite out of place with those high decibels and wide-eyed, overtly dramatic motherly outbursts. I quite liked the geographical movements that the script enabled, with the story being taken to New York and Las Vegas. We were shown a bit of the MMA scene in America, but it was so disappointing to see the very celebrated director Puri Jagannath handle a few scenes with so much naivety. In a scene, Liger is attacked by trained fighter women. Liger says, ऐसे मत बिहेव करो वरना शादी नहीं होगी. क्या मैंने तुम सबको प्रेग्नेंट किया है जो तुम मेरे साथ ये कर रही हो? People watching could not believe that that is the humor the film is banking on. इस पर हंसना था या फिर I just don't know what to say. Another opportunity lost was a very visually appealing scene with Mike Tyson and many other cowboys in a ranch where Liger fights him, but the tone was unnecessarily made comical and whimsical, with a few technical details of telecast terminology thrown in, which completely defied common sense or simple logic. And then the film ends abruptly. It's sad that Vijay Deverakonda's sincerity is quite visible, but the apparatus around him, including the script, abruptly placed songs, dialogues that scream mediocrity, and a laughable romantic track weigh him down in his first official Hindi film. Moving on, the show Delhi Crime took the OTT world by surprise. Skillfully crafted and brilliantly performed, Delhi Crime was regarded as a well-made police procedural based on the investigations and memoirs of the then Commissioner of Police of Delhi, Neeraj Kumar, after the heinous and disgraceful Nirbhaya case. Now, with the second season based on Chaand Baaliyan gang that has been giving sleepless nights to the north of India since 1987, I talked to the team on how it is an upgrade from the last and what's new. We all know that the first season, of course, had won the best drama series at the Emmys, and it was a big, big achievement, not just for you guys, but for us also as Indians. The first season was about Nirbhaya. The second season is about the Chaand Baaliyan gang. How is it an upgrade from the first?
I don't know if we look to upgrade or downgrade. I don't know if we think in those terms. Season 1 was such an achievement and was so amazing. And there was a kind of case that can't be duplicated and shouldn't be, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were trying to upgrade, but as great as Season 1 was, there's a lot of people who also couldn't watch it due to the nature of the material. And so, in terms of, if you want to say upgrade, the hope is that we'll bring in more audience members into this Season 2 because it's a case that maybe they can stomach in a different way. And, if anything, Season 1 people came in for the crime, they knew about the crime, but they fell in love with these characters. Season 2, we wanted them to come back for the characters. And if there's an upgrade, it's because the character stories have become deeper and we're going further with the people that India has come to love.
Shefali, somebody had said that no one can stop the idea whose time has come. And I think your time has come.
It's taken really long. It's taken a long time.
Time is taking time.
Time's taking time.
If you don't know, I must tell you that she recently got awarded as the Best Actress in the Indian Film Festival at Melbourne for Jalsa. Congratulations on that. And what a lovely, deliciously nasty character that was in Darlings. And of course, Vartika Chaturvedi, who's based on the DCP Chaya Sharma, who actually cracked the case. First of all, let me tell you, your eyes do a lot of talking on screen, so you must insure your eyes.
Actually, yesterday somebody else told me this. Pallu said, J-Lo insured her butt.
Yeah.
I think you should insure your eyes.
Shefali is India's Al Pacino. and her performance this season is unbelievable. You have to see it, and it's all in the face. It's what she's crafted, and what she can do with... Sometimes the reaction, we don't even need a line from her. We just go to her face, and it makes the scene.
Yeah.
I've been blessed with a lot of love and appreciation, but it never translated to work. Or the kind of work I wanted to do. And that's taken a really long time. But like you correctly said, Delhi Crime is the turning point of my life. Suddenly, there was a director who took that risk and said, I'm going to put her up there. Secondly, because I think of course, Netflix came on board later, but it was made like a long story format. It wasn't made as a film. So it broke the norm of what is required on the box office. Because one person took a chance and gave me something so precious, there were other directors who said, okay, we've always believed in her, and she can do this. She can carry an entire thing on her shoulders. And, directors came to me with work like that, wrote stuff, which is so exciting and interesting. And so that's how it changed it. And DC's given me my favorite character. Like, I'm obsessed and possessed by Delhi Crime and Vartika.
Tillotama, I'm coming to you. First of all, many congratulations on your performance in Sir.
Thank you.
And of course, there's one more film if you haven't watched, then please watch Gautam Ghosh's film, Rahagir.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful film. You're also one of those actors. People have taken their own sweet time to understand you, appreciate you. But once they know who you are irreplaceable. So,
her first film, Monsoon Wedding.
Monsoon Wedding. Oh,
I mean, can you ever
go
back
Alice? She was the most beautiful, like Alice and what was his name?
Vijay Raz, yeah.
Dubey.
Yeah,
Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps when I say it.
Revelation.
It was so beautiful.
Oh, you were together in
Yes.
22 years ago.
Wow.
God. Tillotama, the series are out. Many people have already watched it by now. And now we know why you're there. And now we know why did she say that people are not born criminals. Something makes them into a criminal. And with this series, we also get a peek into the class divide or the process of turning into a criminal. And you're a person, while the entire first season was only from the point of view of the police and the victims and the people. And we didn't have a POV of the Nirbhaya's convicts. But here we have a POV, another POV, which is from the point of view, the lens of the criminal. कि उसकी life story, backstory क्या होती है. And she plays a dreaded woman who's also in the thick of crime.
In society, so-called criminals, those fault lines become like the be-all and the end-all. They're bad. They're guilty. They should be punished. They're less than human. They're animals. They should be hung. You know, there's a language of retribution and anger, and it's just a you know, we need to let off that steam. We need to have a scapegoat. It's a classic Greek tragedy had that scapegoat where it used to be initially a goat that is killed, and then it became a character that had to be removed for the society to feel whole again and to feel normal again. And I think that's a dramatic device that, you know, the Shakespearean plays have followed and great Greek tragedies have followed. But in life, it's impossible to, you know, to have these fault lines only reserved for a certain minority group. We all have those fault lines. I had a husband who thought I was a slut for going out and doing what I wanted to do. You know, the way he talks about his wife or the way society judges her for not wanting to be a mother. Is it a crime? Because she didn't want a child. In fact, I mean, you know, we don't consider marital rape crime. But if a woman doesn't want and is not ready to have a child, but you do force her, it is marital rape.
How many episodes, Tanuj?
5.
Oh, 5? Just 5?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, very interesting.
Wow, you really get it. I really, you watched it. I feel that you understand it. That's just a good feeling.
Yeah, I understand this very well. Also because, you know, then Commissioner of Police of Delhi, Mr. Neeraj Kumar, he had written a book called Khaki Files, we know that. And the first series were based on that. And it was based on his memoirs and his investigation into the Nirbhaya case. And we are also, I can't say family friends, but I know the family very well. He had written one more book called Dial D for Dawn. And I have not been associated, none of my family members have been into police services, but this family was my window to look at the lives of police officers. In fact, Ankita, Mr. Neeraj Kumar's daughter, has also made her maiden film, which is about the interplay between the police and the media. After this experience of working in Delhi crime, pre and post, what's your view on the lives of cops?
They're not super cops or they're not just corrupt cops.
Yeah.
It's not what it's shown as simple as that. And even though they have so much power and they can yield it, they have difficulties which may seem ridiculous.
Yes.
I mean, you can't even imagine that this cop could have this problem.
True, true.
You know, I remember when we were shooting in the cop station and one of the lady officers was talking to me and she said, you know, until a couple of years ago, we didn't have a female toilet in the police station.
Imagine that. Oof.
I mean, something as simple as that. Or what they show in one, where they actually have to use their own money because they don't have money for conveyance and, you know, stuff like that. They don't have a car. They don't have, if you want to chase criminals,
yeah, you have to
get your own auto.
Transport.
It's kind of, it's really crazy. There is good, there is bad. Like in the second one, we talk about a couple of, in season 2, we actually talk about certain cops who are completely off, who actually compromise the investigation. So it's not that we're just trying to make them holier than thou or we're trying to highlight it, but as a common man to sit outside and say, "Arey what? It's so simple."
True.
It's a bit.
Tanuj. You're from Colombia, right?
Yeah.
You started filmmaking from there. Now in India, we do follow a system where an actor or an artist, what he can bring to the table is also associated with his social media following, or how much is he out there in the media. In America, we don't have too many big actors on social media. They just walked out of it. So would you say that the number of followers an actor has on social media has got nothing to do with the viability of his working with a director or a big producer?
Not for me.
Not.
Not for me.
I hope not, yeah.
Yeah, not for me. I think what's happening, so
many.
the industry studios have learned. They've cast their films with people with large followings. Bring them on set. You say action and cut, and you don't get the performance. The films don't work because these aren't, a lot of times social media following does not. Is not your representative acting skill, you know, and I think enough people have been burned by casting casting based on you know, social media perception.
Yeah.
And but you know, you look at, especially with OTT demands, we demand quality actors, not stars. People who can, like, because at the end of the day, it's 4 in the morning, your light's about to come up, you're in a tough corner, you have 3 more shots to get, and what do you need in that moment? You need a very scrappy filmmaker and an actor who's going to deliver when the pressure's on.
Right.
I don't think that's always going to be the case with, you know, just someone with a big following. But I'll tell you what, Shefali Shah and Tillotama Shome,
Yes.
they are going to give it to you in that moment and win. So that's where I go.
So true. So true. So Mark Twain said that East is East and West is West and the trains shall never meet. Now we see them meeting, and how.
Ah! Oh, I'm going to go over there and hug you. What a line. What a punch.
All the best for Delhi Crime too. And welcome to India, though you've made several movies before as well.
I've been here.
But welcome and all the best to both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Atika. Take care.
Time for a short break. When we come back, we have director Shashank, Khaitan and lots of music for your ears. Welcome back to Now Showing. I'm Atika Farooqui. In this special segment, we put all the spotlight on our directors, as after all, they are the captains of the ship and give us good movies to chew on. But where do they get their inspiration from? So, here is Shashank Khaitan, director of films like Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania, Dhadak, Badrinath Ki Dulhania, Kis Kis Ki Dulhania. Well, he talks about the film that changed his life and inspired his filmmaking. He talks to my colleague Vishal Chatkara.
The one film which forced me to make it my career or pushed me to make it my career was, I think, Rang De Basanti. Rang De Basanti released in 2006. It was on 26 Jan. Around that time, I was taking dance workshops all across the country, wanting to make movies, but because I was from Nasik, not sure how to do it. And I remember seeing it on the first day itself. I was like so torn in my heart that I need to become a filmmaker. I cannot continue dilly-dallying, because around that time I started studying for my MBA. I remember in that week itself I went and saw that film 5 more times, and every time I was seeing it, that film was giving me so much more value. It was teaching me things. And right after the first week, I remember going and having a chat with my parents and saying that, you know, I want to make movies a career. I don't want to do an MBA. I don't want to do anything else. And film school happened because of that. And I was very fortunate that within the first week of film school, the first film we saw was Rang De Basanti, and we immediately had an interaction with Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra, and it almost completed my journey, saying that, correct, I'm at the right place and this is how I need to proceed in my life. Because it talks about what youth needs to do for the country in a very different way. It tells you the lives of Bhagat Singh, Azad, Rajguru, everyone, in a way that how they stood up for the country when there was British oppression, and similarly it intercut to almost these youth in Delhi who were completely directionless, just having a good time, and suddenly an incident gives them motivation to go and fight for their own country or express their views and not take any form of injustice lightly. And I think Rang De Basanti, just the word, just the patriotic flavor of it was so beautifully steeped into that film, and trying to show that youth then and youth now need to raise their voices against something which they find is oppressive or wrong that is happening in the country. I think the one thing which I took very literally adapted it in my writing was the sense of humor, That film had a very unique sense of humor which felt very real. None of the jokes were forced. I remember one very cute moment is when a drunk Sharman Joshi says that I'm going to go and drop Aslam back to his house, and the door opens and Aslam's father is standing at the door and looking at him, and suddenly Sharman Joshi's character goes, Alsam. And I think that became such a cultural usage after that, because I remember with friends, wherever we go, we're like, Alsam. It made me feel that I have just lived this journey. I think for me, it's really important that I'm always striving to create that experience, that hopefully in most films I do, I'll succeed, in some I won't. But that will always be my attempt, that I can create a universe where people feel that, wow, we just didn't see a film, we have experienced this movie. Very recently I saw the film and it just doesn't feel like an old film. And I'm sure when I see this film in 2040, it will still seem as current.
Up next, we have singer Aditya A, who broke the internet with his song Chaand Baaliyan that everyone is singing these days. My colleague Vishal Chatkara spoke to Aditya about his song and his Bollywood plans.
देखूं मैं तुझे या देखूं कुदरत के नजारे, मुश्किलों में है ये दिल मेरा, माना तेरी सूरत की है चांदी 100% बिल्लो, मेरे दिल का सोना भी खरा, ये तेरी चांद बालियां है होठों पे गालियां, ये तेरी चांद बालियां है होठों पे गालियां, सोचने का मौका ना दिया है, मैं तो तेरे पीछे हो लिया, मैं तो तेरे पीछे हो लिया, मैं तो तेरे पीछे.
Aditya, I think you can be easily called, or shall I say, you are the breakout singing sensation of the year 2022. Your song Chaand Baaliyan, which was actually released 2 years ago, was recently discovered on the social media and got this huge love and affection from the entire world. So congratulations. And are you enjoying this new adulation for your music?
Thank you, Vishal. Yes, obviously I'm enjoying all this, the visibility that I'm getting, and that too when I was not expecting it at all. So it was a very pleasant surprise for me कि 2 साल बाद ये गाना एकदम से viral हो गया.
Right now, you are nation's favorite indie singer. Many film stars have praised your song on the Instagram. Your phone must be flooded with offers right now. So when do you think we'll see this song in a Bollywood film?
Basically, the song rights have been acquired by Sony Music. They are already in the process of like giving it to a film. I hope by the end of the year we might see it in a film.
I've heard other songs of yours as well. All these songs are very self-referential. Do you always get inspired by your family and friends, or where do you look for inspiration for your songs?
A lot of my songs are travel songs also. Like Road Pe, there is a song called Highway. And these are, there is a bit of introspection in them, and there is a bit of, rebellion also in them. And but most of my romantic songs, yeah, I mean, I take inspiration from what's happening around me.
So which composition or the song of yours was the one you think is the most personal for you to write?
Personal, okay. There are 2 songs of mine. One is Kahaniya and one is Kangna. They are musically, they are very close to my heart. And although they are not, very popular, but I think I felt a lot of satisfaction after creating them. टूटे सारे तारे मिल न पाएंगे किनारे अब यहाँ ढूंढ ले दो पत्थर आग ही लगा ले चल यहाँ रात कह रही है तू चलने दे कहानियाँ.
Oh, we've come to the end of this show. But before we leave you, there are 2 different views about living life. Some say the heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by a sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night. So, some other people say this about life. हजारों ख्वाहिशें हैं, किस किस को रोइए. हजारों ख्वाहिशें हैं, किस किस को रोइए. आराम बड़ी चीज है, मुंह ढक के सोइए. So you pick yours. But remember, whatever you do, be good, be just, and always watch good movies, as we are what we watch. I'm Atika Farooqui saying goodbye to you. See you in the next episode. Ciao.